Hello, guys. I hope this thing works and you can see me. Let me know in the chat if everything is all right with the sound and the video. I hope it works. But as my experience tells me, it doesn't really always work as planned, even if you've tested like for a couple of hours. So please let me know if everything works. А, Теперь по-русски. Для тех, кто ничего не понимает по-английски, я постараюсь повторять и переводить то, что я говорю, но если вы все-таки понимаете на иностранном наречии, то вы мне, пожалуйста, скажите тоже в чате, потому что я тогда просто быстрее все расскажу, и всем будет тогда приятнее проводить время в эфире. Ну и тоже напишите, все ли хорошо там в чате со звуком, с видео, потому что даже если тестируешь, то не всегда на самом деле оказывается, что все работает. Hey, Dirk! Nice to see you! Is the sounds and the video all right? Because it looks like the video is fine. I'm more concerned about the sound. Anyhow, today I'm going to be talking about. Yes, today I'm mostly a talking head, not a singing head. Today I'm going to be talking about my creation process of creating bad habits, the video for this cover, and how I came up with the arrangements and all the stuff. So I have a bunch of questions from my patrons and my musician friends and just my followers on social media. I will try to answer them all. I hope I won't miss anything, but feel free to ask me anything in the chat, and I will do my best to answer you. Понимаем наречие, звук отличный. Отлично, привет. На всякий случай я все-таки пока еще поговорю по-русски, если тут все-таки есть, или присоединятся те, кто не особо понимает, что я там на наречиях-то говорю. Сегодня я буду рассказывать про процесс создания моего видео на песню Bad Habits и про то, как я вообще аранжировала эту песню. И я получила много вопросов и от моих патронов на Patreon, и от друзей-музыкантов, и просто фолловеров в разных соцсетях. Я постараюсь на все эти вопросы ответить, но если я вдруг что-то забуду, то вы мне, пожалуйста, тоже пишите вопросы в чате, и я постараюсь не пропустить ничего интересного. Вот так. So, shall we start at the beginning? So, the song Bad Habits was released on June 25th, I believe. And I actually didn't hear the original the first time I heard the song. I heard a cover by one of my favorite YouTubers, Mary Spender. She's a UK-based singer-songwriter and guitar player, and she has a lot of awesome content about guitars and music and creative process in general. So if you're interested in this kind of stuff, you may want to check her out if you haven't heard about her. Maybe you have, and that is nice. So, anyways, the first time I heard this song, it was an acoustic cover by Mary Spender. She basically just played through the song on her guitar and sang it, and it sounded really nice. And I actually really got hooked on the riff of this song. She played it based on the guitar, obviously, but I thought, wow, this melody sounds so nice. I need to hear how it sounds in the original, and maybe I want to do a cover of the song myself. Hey, Henrique, greetings. Hi to Brazil from Russia. Nice to see you here. Не появилось у нас тут русскоговорящих, я тогда не буду на русский пока отвлекаться, окей? Если кому-то непонятно, пишите. So then, after hearing Mary Spencer's cover, I got on YouTube and searched for the original song by Ed Sheeran. And of course, I totally fell in love with the video, with his vampire image. I really enjoyed his pink suit and his makeup, and of course the bangs. So after watching this video for like 3 times in a row, I wrote in the chat to my friends, like, guys, check this out. Ed Sheeran is so cute as a vampire, and I want to be a glamorous vampire too. So basically, at that moment, after watching this video for like 3 times and hearing this song for the first time no more than 15 minutes before that, I already had an idea of how I want to do my cover if I want to do it. Hey Flo, nice to see you. So, let me show you a picture so you basically have an understanding. This is basically what I imagined right from the beginning. There were maybe some different details, maybe a little bit of a different color, but basically I already had this image in mind. Oh, also, fun fact, this chair, which is my co-star in this video, was given to me by my mom for my birthday, which was a couple of days before the release of the song, so it's like magically appeared in my imagination, probably because I just had the nicest experience of my life of sitting in front of the computer comfortably. So I imagined me sitting in this chair with this kind of mystic atmosphere with pink or purple light. Initially, I thought that maybe the light should go from top to bottom and from the bottom to the top with different colors, but later when I was actually setting up the lights, it turned out that it was a little bit too hard to achieve the result that I wanted, so I went with the side lights instead. So yeah, that's basically the idea in the nutshell right from the start. And this proves, well, basically, you probably kind of know it yourself, that coming up with an idea is easy, but embodying it and bringing it into life is much, much harder, and it takes so much more time. So many details, yes, and I'm just starting. I will tell you more interesting stuff about all the props that I used in the video, and I will show you my project in Cubase where I make the music, and in Premiere Pro where I make the video, so you will have a lot of details about the process. Ashkan, hello. Also, I'm sorry if I mispronounce anyone's name. I'm bad with the foreign names especially, and you know, like, everybody has a name that makes sense in their own language, but it doesn't, but it may not make much sense to me as a native Russian speaker and not a native English speaker, so I'm sorry. Have you heard about... No, I haven't, and I also don't know how to agaloch, and I don't know how to pronounce it, sorry. Anyways, back to my idea. So, as I said, it was the end of this June, and at that moment I was already working on another cover. It was My Mother Told Me, and that cover took well, a lot of time to do all the masking and cloning and putting all my clones into one frame. Um, and I will make a video about it. But it also takes a bit of time to properly script and film a video explaining how I did it. That's actually why I decided to talk about this uh, creation process in a live stream, because I think I would have spent like a week trying to put it all into one video that wouldn't last for like 2 hours. So I hope you enjoy this version of my behind the scenes explanations. So back to the good stuff. So I had this idea, and in a couple of days, I already knew that I needed some stuff to make my costume. I will talk about it a bit later. I also needed to get the fangs to be a proper vampire. And I also had some ideas about what I wanted to see as my props in the video. So I also went to the closest grocery shop, bought a lollipop and some pink fizzy water, fizzy drink, I don't know what you call it. Uh, and also bought a bunch of pink stuff that I probably needed for the video, like elastics for my hair and a whole bunch of this stuff. And there were some questions about how the fangs work, how I put them on, was it comfortable to wear them. And so they are really cheap. I was actually surprised. I got them for like less than $10, I think. So I will show you a picture how they look when they're new and then used. So they're hollow on the inside, and you basically put them on your real teeth. And they also come in, first of all, in this nice box, which is pretty nice. And they also come with this small pieces of thermal or thermoplastic. Basically, you take a couple of these white thingies and put them into hot water, and they become very elastic plastic, and you can mold them on your teeth. So you put a couple of these pieces into this hollow tooth and put it on. So in the end, it looks like this. I hope it will focus. Please work. No, you don't want to focus on the teeth, on the tooth. Anyways, it has like a mold of my actual tooth and my gums, and now I can just put it on. It doesn't look really pretty, but it works. Like this, and this. And now I'm a pretty vampire. And I actually can talk with them, which is nice. Of course, there's a little bit of this thing with the teeth, which is to be expected. But it doesn't really like stands in the way of talking or singing in any way. So it's okay. You can probably try and practice to talk with them and use them on stage to actually perform a vampire role or something like that. But I won't torture you with my lisping. So I just wanted to give you a demo of how this thing works. Well, maybe I will check that band if I won't forget about it. I will try not to. All right. There were, I think, a couple of questions about the costume. My patron Alain actually left a bunch of questions, so I will just try and check if I'm going along with them. Right, so about the accessorize and the costume. Uh, did you already have this great outfit in your wardrobe? Partially. I had this. Let me show you the outfit so you probably remember how it looked, but just in case. So I already had the corset top and the gloves and the faux leather leggings. But this puffy skirt is something that I actually made for this video. So this fabric in Russian is called fatin. In English, I believe it's just tulle. But in Russian, this particular fabric is called fatin, and this word actually resembles Russian word for a veil, a bridal veil. So this is the fabric for making veils. And this is fun because I actually had my first experience working with this fabric when we performed our last concert to this day, which was about a year and a half ago at Corpse Bride Festival. And as you can see, it's, well, was dedicated to the movie. And we decided that meaning myself, our guitar. Oh, that was my phone. That's me, my guitar player Tina, and our stage performer Aruna will wear bridal veils to be like gothic corpse brides. And I made these veils myself. So there are some fake flowers and this fabric. You can put it like this, basically. And then turn it back this way. And I really enjoyed this material. And so I actually used this fabric a lot in my other videos. I used it in a dress I made for my mortal. I used it in one of the outfits in Everybody Wants to Rule the World. I think in Sleeping Sun as well, and maybe some other videos that I don't remember, but I really, really like working with this fabric. And basically, I just bought a huge piece of this fabric in pink and made this like short front that I just tuck into the corset, kind of like this. And I also made the skirt, and it has a bunch of layers, as you can see, or maybe not, because it's too big to fit in the frame. Also, my waist isn't actually that small, it's just a very good elastic material. Just fun fact. So yeah, this is basically how I made this costume. And again, I really had it already like imprinted in my imagination, and I just had to embody it in real life. All right, what was the next point? Oh, and I had a question from my friend Tatiana from Cialia Band about what was in the glass. What was I drinking in the video? Well, of course, it's unicorn blood. It's nice and shiny and pink, but not really. It's just like some fizzy drink. It actually had like unicorns on the package, I think, and it tastes like bubblegum. So it was fun. I don't usually drink Coke or any like fizzy drinks. I just drink tea. So that was fun. Oh, sorry. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad that you like What is Love. And this, yeah, I see why you like it if you like that the metal band. That perfectly makes sense. Oh, hello, Lan. Oh, we're just beginning. You're not that late. I've just told the guys about how I came up with the idea, which is basically it just popped up in my brain, and that's just how I got it. And a little bit about the costume and the thanks. I will leave this video up for a while, so you will be able to go back and watch it if you want to. And now about the music. Again, I had a pretty clear idea about how I want this song to sound in my version, but there were some tricky places in the song. I wrote about, not wrote, I vlogged about it on Patreon, but let me show you too. So, as I usually have it pretty much defined in my style, I used the main riff, the main melody in the keys instead of the guitars or whatever sound Ed Sheeran used. And that was the bass, and I'm putting on the headphones so I will be able to hear the music, but it won't interfere with my microphone. So the key part was basically like a given for me, and I also had the clearest idea of how I want the last chorus to sound, that kind of breakdown stuff. Also, my friend Anton asked me about how I achieved the contrast between the verses and choruses, because the song basically has the same chords all all the song long. One chord actually changes, but it doesn't make that much difference, that much of a difference. However, the arrangement really does. So let me show you how it all works. Here is my Cubase project for mixing. I also have another project as I begin to arrange the song, but I was kind of afraid that it would be too heavy to show it during a live stream, because it needs a lot of resources. And when all the instruments are rendered, they only need, well, they also need a lot of resources, but not as much. So let me show you the whole project. All these colorful bars are tracks with individual instruments. So as you can see, there's vocals and backing tracks, backing vocals, I mean. The woodwind section, the brass section, additional instruments like pianos and pads and harps and all that. The string section, then orchestral percussion, but not only percussion, I also added some effects here. That's just how it's more convenient for me. Then the drums, I basically have two drum sets for this song, because I use different sounds in the verses and the choruses. And guitars and bass, they're just here at the very bottom. Now you can understand which is important to me and which instruments aren't as much. Just kidding. So, in the beginning of the song, in the intro, we have, let me make it a little bit smaller. Yeah, we have the woodwinds, a little bit of brass, all the additional stuff. Mainly, the most important things in here are the piano and the harp that doubles it. Let me show you. By the way, let me know if the sounds from Cubase is alright, if it's not too loud. Again, I tested it, but who knows how it really works. Alright, so if you're not like a musician or that much into arrangement, this is the part that you pay attention to. So this is basically the main riff, and you may not really register that there is a lot of stuff going on around it. So there's also the woodwinds. That's a tongue twister in this name. The brass, so here they are. They are basically just make the background sound more like epic. So basically the same 4 chords. And then we have some strings. They actually add some texture. The basses do the same bass line. Well, basically. Obviously, basses do a bass line. Who would have thought? They do it legato, and the second violins, violas, and cellos do pizzicato. More like marcato, I think, the proper term. There is also a bunch of stuff going on in the percussive region, but it doesn't really make that much of a difference in the musical sense, but in the sense of like effects, like this swoosh in the beginning. Well, it sounds like pretty cool, I think. Especially when you add everything on top of that. And there is also the guitars. They also do the same chords. So now we know what stuff is going on in the intro. There are a bit fewer instruments in the actual verse. So in the first half of the verse, we don't have the woodwinds, and we don't have tuba, and the guitars also fade out. So it's pretty empty. If I turn off the vocals, you can hear that there is basically nothing going on, only the keyboard. And here's with the vocals. Then we have tuba coming in, a little bit of first violins, and the drums, obviously. And the drums here are actually a different rhythmical pattern than the original song has. It's more syncopated, and this is actually one of the reasons this part sounds so different from the chorus, because choruses have the usual boom pam, like very straight, very square rhythm. And the next part, the first parts of the chorus, was the hardest part to arrange in the song, because in the original it basically has some pads in the background, the bass, and the kick drum, and that is all that's going on there. But if I removed everything, it would have been too empty. On the other hand, if I still had all the instruments that I had before, it wouldn't have made any difference. That is some weird sentence. So Sergei and I tried to figure out how to make this part kind of similar in sound to the original, and also make it our own, and still make it different from the second part of the chorus, because many covers that I saw on YouTube, they actually don't differentiate between the two parts of the chorus, and they just rock on from the beginning. But we didn't want to do it, and so we came up with this drum pattern. Let me show you the drums alone, which is really different from the kick drum by itself. Oh, please, don't freeze. Oh no. So it's mostly tone drums. Of course, the kick is still there, but it gradually develops, adds the snare and this break. And then we go into the regular part. And guys, it may seem really simple to do this, but we've tried so many different options for this part. I don't know how many, I think at least 10. And none of them worked like this one does. And I personally really like how it turned out to be. Also in the other instruments we have basically the basses. The basses in the strings section, the cellos, horns, and, well, the bass, as in bass guitar. Here's the guitars and bass. Here's cellos and basses. There's also this pad, but you can't really hear it behind all the stuff. And the horns. They add the epicness and develop into the second part. So this is basically how you achieve this contrast between the very light verse, even lighter but more like driven first half of the chorus, and full rock on second half. And I basically repeat it all for the second verse and the second chorus. I also add a little bit of trumpets and trombones, so it sounds like this. The trumpet actually doubles for the violins. Right, so this is how it all works. And the breakdown that I envisioned in my first vision of this song, that doesn't sound right, but the idea is there. Here we also have this like very soft part, and gradually try to go up, and then it's just basically headbang. I think that this really works really nicely for that song. Okay. So, I think that pretty much covers it all. Again, the final chorus also has all the previous parts, only the violins have like a double, an octave up. So in the second chorus it was like this, right? And here it's just higher. Everything else is pretty much the same as before, but it always gives it such a nice lift. And the trumpet also doubles the melody here. basically how this arrangement works. Let me know if you want me to clarify anything. I don't know how much of this made sense to you. I tried to keep it as simple as I could, but maybe I didn't do such a great job. Anyhow, let me show you my face again. So, this is how the arrangement works. What is the next question? How I filmed all the stuff? Did I film it by myself? How long did it take me to prepare everything? So, as I said, I had the idea basically instantly. So, I wish it was possible just to like take an idea from your head and pooh, put it into being, but unfortunately it doesn't work that way. So I mentioned that I got all the stuff that I needed, like the fangs, the tool, fabric, and whatnot, all the props. In the end, basically by the beginning of July, let's say. However, at that point, I was still working on My Mother Told Me, so I couldn't start filming this cover right away. And then there was a heat wave in Moscow, which basically was debilitating for me. I was just sleeping all day and just crawling out of my dark corner in the night for a while, but my brain just didn't want to work. So I basically had to wait for about a month to get back into my best creative form. And then I had some issues with the arrangement, as I said. So it took, well, let's say about a week. And then we come to my favorite part of this production, which is the lights that make this nice atmosphere here and in the video. So the idea of the lights was again there from the start, and I was hoping that the LED strips that I had would be enough. However, as I showed on my Patreon, again something is falling down. As I showed it on my Patreon in one of the vlogs, when I tried to set up the scene with the light strips that I had, their brightness wasn't enough. Just wasn't working for the camera. It looked alright in real life, but on camera things just look different. So I had to find the light, pun intended, find the light to work with for this video. And again, as I mentioned on Patreon, we already used a similar light setup for our video wither, and I'm not sure. Let me check. No. Anyways, so we used similar lights, but they were like previous generation, and they weren't as bright as the ones that I got. And I think now that if we had these lights, that video would have turned out much, much better, because they are very bright when they are set up into their color mode. They are very bright when they are just white light anyway, but this particular model, it's Yongnuo 360, the third generation Pro version, and that Pro part is important. Usually the Pro part is just for, you know, marketing purposes, but this time around it really makes a difference, because they are like 3 times brighter than the regular model. let me try and show you. They also have like this cute little like wireless controls which allow you to pick a color. For instance, I don't know, this one you probably won't see, but let me try on this one. You can see I'm just like scrolling around and it changes color. It's just so incredible. I enjoy it so much. I think I can like play all day just changing the color. All right, let us turn it back to this one. Okay. So, and if I turn this one off, you see, it makes a difference. I can show you. I won't take it off the stand, but oh, here it is. Also, I don't need those anymore. So it's a huge stick with a lot of lights. And it's really bright. So I will put it here again. And they are really nice to use. I really enjoy them. I can't stress enough how much they improved the video. And thanks a lot to my patrons for allowing me to afford to buy them. Do you do it all by yourself? Yes, I do everything myself. From the idea to the mixing and editing and mastering, all the stuff. Привет, Юр. Nice to see you. So, yeah, those are the lights. And also now, as you can see, and in the video also, they show different colors, but you can synchronize them and basically use only one remote control. Also, there is an app, and basically I will probably use them in all of my future videos, probably, unless it's like black and white. So that's the thing about the lights. What was the next point? Oh yeah, and how long did the filming took? So I think I tried to film it with my old LED lights, like maybe on a Friday, and then I wanted to order these lights, but they arrived only on Wednesday the next week, if I remember correctly. So that's basically 1 week down the drain. But it was worth it. And then it was pretty quick. Then I just filmed, I think, 2 days. I only needed 2 days to film the stuff. Basically, one day was to film the wider shots, and the second day was for close-ups and extreme close-ups with the teeth and the lollipop and all that stuff. And I actually got very, very carried away while filming it. Because first of all, I had these nice props and I had a whole bottle of pink drink to drink. So basically, I had to film like 3 takes of me with the drink, 3 takes of me with the lollipop, and a lot of takes of me with my hands free. But there is a trick in this video. So let me show you that picture again. Right, so you see that I have like my palms facing downwards, right? And in my right hand, I actually hold a dim switch for the key light that makes the white light that turns on and off in the video. And I did it differently in different takes. Some of the takes I filmed all in this purple light without the key light. So from the beginning to the end of the song, a few takes of this version, then a few takes when I turn the lights on and off, depending on the part of the song. And actually, I didn't have a clear idea of when the lights should be on and when it should be off. I figured it out later in post, which isn't the best idea because I ended up with a ton of takes. And also, I filmed some takes with the bright light from start to finish. And in the end, I had a lot of takes. So here is my Premiere Pro. This is the first day of editing this project, and each track is an individual take. So you can see there are 54 tracks. Some of them have different colors. So this light pink, I think these are the takes with the lollipop. This brighter pink or coral pink is for the drink. This magenta color are the takes with the lights off, and this purple color is the takes with the lights on or on and off, if I remember correctly. I think that is right. And these are the takes where I play the keyboard. So I definitely got carried away. In the end, however, let me show you the final project. Hello. Why don't you? Oh, okay. A little bit of freezing. I guess it doesn't like when I also run the OBS studio. All right, let's wait a little bit in the background. Oh, it works again. All right, let me, or it doesn't. I don't know. Give me a moment and I will show you how it looks when the project is finally edited. Come on. Please work. Please don't freeze. This is not nice. All right, let's see what's going on in the chat. Do you mix with headphones or monitors? First of all, as a professional sound engineer, I must tell you that you shouldn't ever mix with your headphones alone. If you have only a good pair of headphones, you still have to check your mix on some speakers, even if they are of a lower quality, because headphones trick you, like even the best ones will trick you. So I mix with 2 pairs of monitors or speakers and with these headphones. This is Audio-Technica M50X. I got them for this new year. And I actually had a previous version of this model without the X part. And I got them for my birthday like 13 years ago, so they worked really well until the end. They didn't have this interchangeable cable, so one time I had to take them apart and solder in a new one because they couldn't do it like this pair does with the jack, but they still worked really well for like 13 years or something. So yeah, I got this pair, but I only check the mix from time to time when I'm mixing with the headphones, because headphones give you a slightly different level of the vocals, and it's quite lower than my speakers um, give you the level. They also have slightly, the different pairs have a slightly different level of the vocals, but it's a little bit higher than the headphones do. And if I would have, it would have been wrong. The vocals would have been too loud if I mixed only in the headphones. So yeah, it's a tricky stuff. Mixing is my probably least favorite part of the whole process, to be honest. Сколько времени ушло на все, начиная от идеи и заканчивая монтажом? So, how long did it take from the initial idea to the end of the editing? Editing is actually not the last part of the process, but so the song was released on June 25th, and the video I posted on August 22nd, I think, right? It was when? Last Sunday, right? So it took basically 2 months, but I wasn't really working on it for the whole 2 months. As I said, there were some time with my brain not working because of the heat wave, and then I also had another video to finish, and then I had some stuff to make, and like, chores at home and all that. So if we're counting the time from the first project I made in Cubase, at least. Let me check the date. The first project I made was that doesn't seem right. I don't know. The Cubase just overrides the backup files, so I don't actually see when was. Yeah, the folder was made on July the 20th, so about a month. About a month from starting the making of the arrangement to filming and then to editing. And the Premiere Pro doesn't want to play with me tonight. Alright, if Premiere doesn't want me to show you, I will find a screenshot and show you it that way. I think I had a screenshot of, yeah, here it is. Okay. So you can see that all these tracks were like full takes, right? And in the end, they all are chopped into little clips, and obviously every single clip is a choice that you have to make between all the 54 something, I think them, yeah, 54 takes. So every time you make a cut, you basically need to choose between 54 takes. Well, maybe a little bit less because you wouldn't use the same take, right? Or the same setup, probably. But anyhow, the editing of this video took like a week, I think. I don't remember when was the last time that I spent so much time on editing alone. Even making the clones for my a cappella set videos, they were easy in the sense that there weren't so many little clips. you just took a longer clip for maybe like 10 seconds long, or maybe even 30 seconds, however the phrase lasted, and then you picked the characters in each take. So that was easier. It was harder to track and mask them, but I will tell you about it in another video. So yeah, editing is hard. Mixing is hard also, but at least, you know, there is no way to finish editing until you are finished, right? You need to chop them all from start to the finish. And while mixing, you pretty much know that from a certain point, it's just like perfectionism. The mix sounds good enough basically from the moment like when I um, do the proper balance of the vocals. All the other parts is just, well, more about the taste. And from that point, like, you can spend 3 days on a mix, you can spend a week on a mix, you can spend only 3 hours if you are not caring that much about the details. Or maybe you are like a super professional engineer who can hear everything and knows what to do with it. And I don't, and often I either don't hear a problem until much later, when I listen to a song with fresh ears, or I don't know how to fix a certain issue. Um, Mixing symphonic metal and symphonic music in general is not that easy. Let me just shut off Premiere Pro because I think it slows down my computer. All right, what other questions do I have? I told you about the lights, I told you about my costume, I told you about the arrangement. And please remind me if I forgot anything, but I think I pretty much covered all the areas and aspects of this video. Am I missing something? I don't know. Oh, Alan asked me on Patreon about my musical arsenal from instruments to studio technical equipment, and the things I wish of having, and about my PC. So I haven't upgraded my PC from the moment I made a video about building my new computer. And it was almost 2 years ago, but it works pretty well. This Premiere Pro freezing was a really odd thing. It doesn't happen that often. Of course, there are sometimes some glitches and freezes, but otherwise, I'm really happy with how my setup works. I don't remember all the details, but it's Core i9, the ninth generation, 32 gigs of RAM, and the video card, God, which one is it? I think it's GTX 1050 or 1070. Anyway, it works. I think the next thing that I would like to upgrade would be the video card, because Premiere Pro requires some really strong GPU for some processes, not for all. It actually uses more of the processor power for rendering, for exporting the video, but the like when you watch the video during editing and with all the effects, that is actually GPU heavy. So I'm thinking about upgrading to a new graphics card. But they look like really expensive now. I think they are much more expensive, even like similar models to the one that I have now. I don't know. I haven't been like paying that much attention to uh, this particular topic. Maybe everybody is just farming bitcoins or something and they all need like powerful GPUs. Probably that has something to do with that, I'm guessing. So, yeah. And as to my musical equipment, I have this keyboard. It's a pretty old audio keyboard. I think it's called Axiom 61 because it has 61 keys. I have the microphone that I'm using now. It's AKG Perception. I don't remember the model. I also had this one for the longest time. I think I recorded the vocals for my first band's debut album, Revontulet Hear Me, on this microphone, and it still works fine. But I'm thinking about upgrading, or not upgrading, but just getting the YouTube microphone, the Shure, I think it's called S7B, if I'm not mistaken. But you know, it's like the big black one, this bulky thing, because that one is a dynamic microphone and this one is a condenser. And dynamic microphones are just have lower sensitivity levels, meaning that they don't catch as much background noise, which is really nice. I would like to maybe like rent it somewhere and test it, and maybe then I will think about buying it. Then, as to my speaker monitors, I have Genelec monitors. I think it's a 5-inch monitor. Also, I got them to mix Hear Me. And I also have a pair of old, I don't know what's even the brand is that manufactured them, old wooden monitors that I've been using since I was 10 years old. So I just know how they sound, how all the music that I listen to sound on them. And that is useful while mixing because when I'm switching to Genelec monitors, it's always like a jarring contrast, and they are more clear, and the sound in the bass is more defined and all that good stuff. But I just don't know how all the music that I like sound on them. Of course, I can like switch back and forth between the songs, like the song that I'm mixing and the song that I want to like check and compare to. But it's still a different feeling from the speakers that I know so well. When I mix on those, they have some blind spots, that's for sure, but the overall balance is clearer to me. Like how much vocals, how much drums. I think I can understand better when I hear it on those monitors just because I know them so well, because I've heard so many different songs on them. So that's to the studio part, and that is basically all I need from the equipment standpoint, at least for making music. For making videos now I have the awesome lights, and I'm thinking about upgrading and getting another camera, but I'm still waiting for my dream camera to be released. I don't want to spend a lot of money and get something that doesn't really fit um, the idea of a ideal camera that I have. I'm still waiting on that. I hope there will be some updates this fall and winter from Sony and Panasonic and some other camera manufacturers, so I will be able to upgrade that. And as to the software that I use, so you know already that I use Cubase and Premiere Pro. As to plugins and instruments inside of Cubase, there's just a ton. I have a huge library of different sound libraries and VST instruments, but I think most recently I've been using Nexus plugin, VSTI. You understand VSTI is a VST instrument. Um, so Nexus for the keyboard sounds like pianos and all that stuff and pads. Engine 2 for harps and like some they have this library, I think it's called Forest Library or something, and Epic Library. They have like this um, theme-based sound libraries, and I really like that for harps and some plucked instruments. And for the strings, the woodwinds, and other orchestral stuff, I use LASS, I think it's called, library, and there are strings and all different packs. I also really like, I think it's called Spitfire audio packs. They actually have a lot of free ones, which is nice. They have a light version of an orchestra, which sounds pretty good. You can buy a pro version with different additional instruments and additional articulations, but I already have them in my other libraries, so I don't need them, but I usually layer them. So, for example, even in the project that I showed you, there were two first violin tracks. So one of them was from LASS and the other one was from Spitfire, for example. So yeah. Um, and for the drums, it's Easy Drums, and for the guitars, it's what's it called? I think it's called Shreddage libraries. So lots of stuff. Is there a way to buy your music as MP3s? My patrons on Patreon have access to all my songs right after they are released as MP3 downloads. So welcome to my Patreon page. The link in the description. How did you learn to sing? Uh, it's a complicated question. I've been singing along to my favorite bands since I was like 12, so that started there. I also went to music school since I was 10, but it was to play the piano. Even though I'm not that good at it, that was the first instrument I learned as a musician. Then in high school and in college, I took classes from a classically trained singer who sings in Bolshoi Theater in Moscow. It's kind of a big deal here. So I have classical training, and I also watch a lot of YouTube tutorials, but I wouldn't recommend to start with them. If you are a beginner, you probably should still find a teacher who is like compatible with you, because that's not an easy task. Not an easy. I had my first teacher who I mentioned, who also sings in Bolshoi and other theaters. But I also went to college to get a degree in singing classically, and the teachers there were just incompatible with me, let's just say. I also had experience with some other people, but it just didn't work out. So if you're looking for a teacher, don't be afraid to try several people until it works for you. Here's the most important parts. And of course, after you have some experience and you know how control the basic vocal like vocal mechanics without hurting yourself, then you can find a lot of useful stuff on YouTube. There are lots of tutorials in different genres, so YouTube is great. Yes, you're right. Miners cause GPU prices to go way up. Indeed. It's just like insane. And I think the prices for GPUs in Russia are much higher than in other countries, at least the ones that I checked the prices like on Amazon or something. And in Russia, it was almost two times more here. So it's like, not really nice. Is it the P20 to 20 model? I'm not sure. I can see it on the microphone, but maybe. I think it was P something, at least in that family. What was the favorite band you used to sing to? Hi, Paul. Uh, Mostly him. One of my favorite uh, teen years bands. Him. Also, there's a Russian band, Aria, like heavy metal, kinds of like Russian Iron Maiden. We did a cover when we used to be called Reinhardt Symphony of their song Потерянный рай, The Lost Paradise. Um, so they were mainly male fronted bands, not female. And then later I also discovered Nightwish and Within Temptation and all that. So that's where the classical singing parts came along. Um, but I think that my lower register is so developed and I sing pretty low for a female is at least partially because of the fact that I used to sing along to male singers mostly. I don't know. There is no way to really find that out for sure, but at least that's part of the reason. Even though in the music school I was like the second sopranos or altos, I think. I don't remember. We didn't have choir lessons for long because we didn't have the teacher there. But anyways, I definitely didn't sing the higher parts even when I was a little girl. So yeah, I'm a kind of a lower registered, uh, you know, female singer. Fan of Type On Negative. Yeah, I actually like them a lot. Really nice gothic vibes and all that, and really nice low male voice. Oh, uh-huh. Do you have in mind to do any other hymn covers? I met you because you covered When Love and Death Embrace. Thank you. Really glad you like it. Yeah, we actually plan to do some covers of more Finnish bands, including him, right before the lockdown began, like last year in the spring. And now I'm still not really comfortable with getting back to rehearsals because COVID, yay! So yeah, I hope when we have the opportunity to finally get back together and film together, we will do another set of Finnish band covers, including him, and maybe I will do one or two myself, but that depends on a lot of stuff. And I have like another very much postponed thing that I have to do this September, and that is the James Bond theme songs. Also, we were planning to cover them and make the videos before the lockdown began, and then the premiere got postponed, and now it's in the end of September. I think it's September the 30th, I think. Uh, and on the one hand, I've been meaning to start working on my own songs this summer, but you know, stuff happens. And on the other, I would really want to do these songs. They include, well, the new main theme, No Time to Die by Billie Eilish, and also Adele's Skyfall, and some older ones. So I really want to do them. I enjoy the Bond movies a lot since I was a kid. I used to watch them with my grandma. I have some really fond memories of these movies, even though I don't enjoy them as much by themselves nowadays, but as a continuation of this tradition, it's important to me. So I want to do these songs, but really want to start working on my own songs, and I just have this uh I don't know, it's kind of a OCD thing, like maybe um it could be really diagnosed because when I start working on a project, no matter what it is, if it's a cover song with all the stuff that I do for it, including arrangement and filming and mixing and editing the video, or making some crafts like the pins that I made for my patrons. Here is one. I don't know if you can see it. Eh, I have hands growing from not proper places. I'm clumsy. That's what I mean. So no matter what the project is, I get so focused on this one project that I really can't work on anything else. If I work on bad habits, uh, unless there is some legit reason that I can't continue, like not having the lights or feeling like shit, pardon me, when there is a wave, I can't stop thinking about it and working on it. If I start making pins or candles or anything else, if I start making them, I can't stop until I have them perfect and all done. So another person probably could have just started working on their song, worked on it for a couple of days maybe, and then worked on the covers for, let's say, this James Bond movies. Maybe even switched in one day, like worked a couple of hours on the original music and then a couple of hours on the covers and then maybe something else, but I like physically can't. i'm I just get really stuck on one thing, and sometimes when I'm in the flow I really forget to eat or like even stand up to stretch my legs. That's a whole thing. So yeah, I need to like change it somehow, but I just don't know how to make it so it still would be a productive change, not a hindrance in the creative process. Kind of a tricky balance. Salute the Sanguine of Ville would be amazing. Yeah, it's a really cool song, but I actually like Runaway from the Sun more from that EP. We also wanted to cover that one before the lockdown because it just was released. But you know, shit happens. I like Russian band Alkanost. Have you heard of them? Yeah, of course. They're not like very popular as you can imagine in Russia. I think I've already told you that there are basically no metal or rock bands. Well, some rock bands, but really, really a few of them on Russian Central TV or radio. But in the like metal community, of course, Alkonost is a well-known band, and they were actually the leaders of the vote for Wacken battle for that German festival. Again, before the lockdown, we also participated in it, but we were like, I think, like 11th in the vote or something. But the Alkonost, they were the leaders, and I was rooting for them because they really have it all worked out. They have cool songs, cool sounds, cool like stage performance. It's a really nice band. Have you heard the band 616? They love metal too. Maybe you like it. Oh, yeah, I know. It's like a guy who wants to be like Ville Valo. He's not bad either. He's like a nice kid. Right. Um, Please let me know if you have any more questions. Leave them in the chat because I think if there are no more, I basically told you everything that I planned for today, and we've been for more than an hour here. So if you don't have any questions, we can wrap this up in a couple of minutes. Um, Let me check if I have any questions that I haven't answered on Instagram because I posted a story there with that question sticker. Oh, this song is just an earworm, isn't it? No, I don't think I have any more questions. Also, some people use these question stickers to send like heart emojis and I love you messages, and it's all really nice and sweet. But I wish these lovely people would use the time that they spend on sending this message to share some of my posts or some of my music with their friends, because that would have been a more useful expression of love. Anyway, I still appreciate it. It's really nice. Run Away from the Sun, Simply Beautiful song would be amazing too. Yeah, I hope I will like have some time to actually get to work on it. I think it can be made more gothic like. I think maybe probably we'll see. Yeah, he wants to be just like Willy, but he's not bad, but that's the problem. Yeah, exactly. By the way, if you like this kind of music that sounds a bit like him and maybe a bit like Linkin Park, I absolutely recommend to check out my band's or my my friend's band. It's called Michael Knight. He's the lead singer of the band. They have a similar vibe musically, but their image is a bit different, and the topics that he is singing about is also more about light and love, not darkness and love, like him. But maybe you would like to check it out. He's on Instagram, the Michael Knight, and all the other platforms. I think you can find him, but there are some other bands that use the same name or other artists. Anyways, I think you will know that it's him when you find him. All right, now it's 21, 26, or 26 minutes past 9. I think we will wrap this up at 9:30, so you have 4 minutes to ask your questions. So please do. And anyways, it was a pleasure to chat with you. I hope I will have some time to do it more often in the future. I'm already getting better at it. It's not once in 6 months. It's now once in 2 months. So I'm getting better at it. Um, yeah, I think it's quite an enjoyable evening. I hope you had some fun too. Do you have bands at the time, or is it just you? Well, I have the musicians with whom I like to play, and we are defined as a band. But as I said, I just don't feel comfortable getting out there into the outside world because of COVID and stuff, because um, I live with my mom and she's not that young anymore. And as you know, COVID is really dangerous, especially for older people with some health conditions. And I really don't want to bring the virus home. Even though we're vaccinated, it's not 100% guarantee. It's a guarantee that you won't get too sick or die. So it's definitely an improvement, but it's still not 100% from getting sick at all. And there are at least 1,500 to 2,000 cases every day in Moscow, new cases, and a lot of people still are in the hospitals. And not that many people are vaccinated, so it's not that easy here, and I just don't want to risk it. And until we're planning to do some live performances, so basically until the situation is better, I don't think it's wise to just go out and risk it and to get to rehearsals and filming with my bandmates, because I need to like um, ride in the subway for an hour to get to our studio, and the guys also go around the city. They are not as careful as I am, so tricky thing. But hopefully it will be better soon. I really hope more people will get the vaccine and it will like slow down at least. Any classical song cover in project? And most of all, did you improve your skills in blowing bubbles? Oh, yes, of course. It was a really intense training to blow the bubbles. I literally I was sitting in this chair with this like um I don't know what is it, soap solution or something, and blowing the bubbles until they were perfect and all like a big cloud of bubbles for the video. I think they were like 2 takes, and each one was at least 5, maybe 6 minutes. So one take, of blowing the bubbles this way, and another blowing the bubbles this way. And as to classical songs, I don't really know. I haven't been like practicing the classical aspect of my singing that much lately. And I actually already did the covers for the songs that I love. Almost all. I think the only one that I wish I recorded is Agnus Dei from Bach's H Moll Masse. So that one, is it H Moll? Or am I confused? Anyway, you know what I'm talking about, I'm sure. So that one would be nice to do in the future. But I have so many things already I want to do that this one is in a more distant future at the very least. So maybe someday, I'm not sure. Looking good. Thank you, Dirk. Thank you. All right. It's now 21:31 by my clock. Oh, a new message. I'm a vocalist, my last band just didn't work and get out the seeking new opportunities and dangerous and more for my brother and mom. Yeah, I totally understand. Yeah, that's a thing, and it's hard to find, you know, like not only good musicians, but people with whom you have a genuine connection, with whom you can be friends and respect each other and all that stuff. So finding a band is not that easy, and that is why I do all the stuff myself. No, not really. You know, I already told you why. All right. I wish you guys a great Saturday evening and a great Sunday. I hope you had a good time. I certainly enjoyed chatting with you. We should do it again. And thank you so much for joining me. Please subscribe to the channel if for some reason you haven't shared the music with your friends. It really helps. And if you are so inclined and want to get my music in MP3s or my orchestral version of the songs or other benefits that I offer, please check out the Patreon page. I would appreciate that as well. Thank you so much. Bye bye.